Mike is up in Deer Lodge. Boy, if there's any place that I would like to be from, Deer Lodge, Montana. Doesn't that just sound nice? I just picture everybody sitting by a giant stone fireplace with a steaming hot cup of coffee, nice blankets. Where are you from? Deer Lodge, Montana. That's kind of nice. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Mike, are you sitting by a fire with a steaming cup of coffee with a really warm blanket?
No.
It doesn't feel like it. Okay. All right,
No.
we tried.
No.
Mike, how can I help?
Well, I work on a ranch here outside of town, and I love my job. I love the job description, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been here for 8 years, and I'm just feeling not super appreciated, not sure if, like, should I stay? Should I go? Should I go look for something else? Should I approach my boss and say, hey, I'm not happy?
Well, it's interesting. I want you to break this down. I love the job is what you started with. Love the job description, love the job, but you're not happy. So this is really good. I love that you set it up this way because you can love your wife, you can love your husband, you can be in a committed, loving relationship and have seasons where you're not happy. So this is really interesting. Just like in a marriage, when we go, okay, I love you, but I'm not happy. Should I go talk to my boss? Yeah. I mean, I'd want to talk to my spouse. I'd want my spouse to talk to me, right? We can't ignore it. It's not going to get better. So on one hand, the answer is yes. But before we decide that that is the best strategy, we love the job, but we're not happy. Why? Specifically why? You already touched on one thing. I think it's more than one thing. You said you don't feel appreciated.
Yeah, it's...
What does that mean?
There used to be another guy that worked here with me. He left like 3 years ago, kind of for the same reasons.
What does that mean?
Feel like there is...
What? No. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I really want us to dive into this. I'm your coach and a little bit of counselor here. What specifically is not being shown to you, or what is being shown to you that makes you feel like that your leader doesn't appreciate you? What is it specifically?
Well, to start with, like, this other fellow left 3 years ago, man, and I've been trying to carry the burden, but everything's still the same as far as wages and compensation and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so your colleague left 3 years ago. They didn't replace him. You picked up a lot of the slack, and you've not gotten a raise or a promotion in that 3 year period where you've picked up the slack.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's what I needed to know. Have you brought it up? Has this been discussed with your leader?
No.
So for 3 years, you've picked up the slack, and you haven't had one conversation about the fact that, hey, do you think I'm doing a good job picking up the slack? Is there something more that you want me to do? How can I grow here in my responsibilities so that I can grow my income? None of that's been discussed.
No.
Okay. Now, there's two things here. There are two people who are at fault. Okay? Your leader is at fault. This is poor leadership. I mean, it just is. I'm not saying that your leader is a bad person. Keep in mind, you can be a poor leader and not a bad person. Now, you can also be a poor leader because you're a bad person. In this case, I'm not saying this is a bad person, but I'm saying this is for sure poor leadership to not recognize you. I mean, the leader is very aware that you picked up the slack, and I'm guessing you've not had any negative reviews. The leader hasn't sat you down and said, hey, Mike, you're not doing a good job, right? That hasn't happened?
No.
Okay, so that's on him. He's not recognized you and rewarded you. That's him. That's a bad leadership move. People need to be recognized for your unique contribution, and people need to be rewarded for the hard work, and it's not always a financial reward. He's not done that. That's poor leadership. That's on him. But I will also tell you that some of this is on you as well, because what I have found about poor leaders, many of them are unaware that they're leading poorly. Now, Had you brought this up to him once and he did nothing about it, I'd go, it's all on him. But part of this is on you because sometimes poor leaders, they go, well, you didn't say anything, Mike.
Yeah.
And so here's my point. To answer your first question and primary question of the call, yeah, I do think you need to tell him that you're not happy, but I would not say it that way. You don't go in and go, hey, I'm not happy. What you do is you go in and you go, tell him exactly what you told me. Hey, on paper, this is my dream job. Or I love this job. Doesn't have to be a dream job, but on paper, I love this job. Yeah. I love the job description. And so I love the job description and I did love this job. I don't love it now. But I'll tell you, I need to tell you as my leader, I owe this to you. And I'm sorry I haven't told you sooner. You need to own this. By the way, in taking this tack, you use the words you want to use, but I'm modeling this and role playing this for you. So by saying, hey, I should have told you this sooner. I owe this to you, my leader, and I didn't tell you. I was afraid to bring it up to you because I didn't want you to take it the wrong way. I didn't want in any way to get punished or put my job or performance in any jeopardy. But here's the deal. I'm not happy. And the primary reason is when Larry left, or whatever the guy's name is, you gave me his responsibilities, or a big chunk of them. I took them on. I've not heard anything from you that I'm not doing a good job picking up the slack. So I assume as of this meeting today that I'm doing a good job. But it has worn me out. It is more time. It is more stress. Lay it out, what it really is. I don't think any of this will be a big surprise. But you got to go, and here's the deal. And so it's been 3 years, and we've not had one conversation. Part of that's on me. I should have brought it up to you. I want to grow here. I want to grow. What does a ladder look like here at this ranch? I'd like to climb it. I'd like to help you build the ladder. I should have told you this sooner. So I'm not here threatening. I'm not demanding anything. I'm just asking. Can we talk about growing my responsibilities and thus growing my pay and so I can make a better life? I mean, that's how I'd approach it. Now, after that happens, if the leader doesn't do anything and just empty promises or doesn't say anything at all, kind of, well, it just is what it is. Now you then now have the sign. The sign is now saying it's time for you to look elsewhere. As of right now, I don't know. But that's what you got to do first. And then based on his response as a leader, if he doesn't do anything about it and you don't feel good about the plan, see, because he can do something about it, but if you don't go, this isn't a real growth plan. This isn't a ladder. I don't see myself here long term. If you don't feel that way, it's time to look and it's time to leave once we find something to replace it. Mike, get your head up. The good news is this. You know what you love to do. So now, if this isn't the place to do it, that's okay. There are many other places in this world where you can do the work you love and you can find it because you know exactly what you're looking for. So appreciate the call. Get your head up. But folks, let me tell you something. I get a lot of calls like this with Mike, and Mike, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage the rest of the audience. You have got to have the courage. I understand it's scary. It feels like a confrontation, but it doesn't have to be ugly. It doesn't have to be unhealthy. But you got to have the conversation because a lot of leaders aren't clued in. They're not paying attention to you. They don't even know. You got to tell them. Then you see what happens.